So you're trying to figure out the best place to move in Port St. Lucie, and if you're anything like me and most people moving here, the more research you do, the more confusing it gets. Port St. Lucie has exploded in growth over the past few years. In fact, in 2023, it was the 4th fastest growing city in the entire country, and it's now the 7th largest city in all of Florida. But with all that growth comes a ton of neighborhoods, dozens of builders, and a mix of older areas, master plan communities, and everything in between. So in this video, I'm gonna break it all down for you. We'll go over the top master plan communities like Tradition and Central Park, and I'll show you why those might be worth the higher fees. I'll also take you through some of the most popular non-HOA areas of Port St. Lucie, like Torino Parkway, River Park, and the neighborhoods just off of Gatlin Boulevard. That's where you can still get a great home without the monthly HOA or CDD fees. Hey everyone, I'm Spencer, a local Florida realtor and proud homeowner right here in Florida. I help buyers just like you relocate to Port St. Lucie, and if you have any questions or if you're planning on making a move, my number, as always, is on screen for you to reach out. Now, let's jump into some of the best areas to live in Port St. Lucie. First, we're starting with the biggest name on the list, and that's Tradition. Tradition is essentially a town within a town. It's a massive master plan development on the west side of Port St. Lucie, just off of I-95. It's made up of smaller communities like Cadence, Kenley, and Seville, each offering different price points, floor plans, and amenities. But they're all tied together by the Tradition Town Center, which features restaurants, shops, walking trails, events, and even its own hospital system and high school. If you're looking for a neighborhood with everything built in, including resort-style pools, gym, pickleball courts, and clubhouse access, Tradition checks a lot of those boxes. And it's one of the most walkable parts of Port St. Lucie, which isn't easy to find. But there is a trade-off, and that is the monthly cost. Most communities here will have an HOA fee between $250 and $350 per month. And you'll also have a CDD fee, a Community Development District fee, which typically adds another $215 per month to your property tax bill. So you're looking at anywhere roughly from $500 to $650 a month in fees, depending on the neighborhood you buy in. That being said, it does cover a lot. Your lawn care is taken care of, internet and cable are included, and you don't have to worry about any maintenance. It's beautiful, it's clean, it's very organized, and there's always something going on in Tradition. If you want a true plug-and-play lifestyle, a newer home, and a real sense of community, Tradition is one of the best places to live in PSL, no questions asked. Just up the road from Tradition, you'll find a newer master plan development called Central Park. This community is getting a ton of attention because it gives you many of the same perks as Tradition, new construction, amenities, and an organized layout, but at a much lower monthly cost. HOA fees here in Central Park range around $100 to $125 a month, and while it still does have the CDD fee, it's lower, roughly $1,300 per year added to your taxes. That breaks down to roughly $315 total per month for the HOA and CDD combined here in Central Park, which is almost half the cost of living in Tradition. And while Tradition has one builder, Mattamy Homes, in Central Park, you'll find builders, a bunch of them, like Lennar, Meritage Homes, and DR Horton here. They have townhomes starting in the mid-300,000s, and they have single-family homes starting roughly in the $400,000 range. There's also a brand new amenity center currently being built. Once completed, that will have a clubhouse, a resort-style pool, fitness center, pickle and tennis ball courts, dog parks, and a few other things. That is going to be shared by the community, so unlike Tradition, where each community has their own pool, their own amenity center, in Central Park, all of the neighborhoods will share one centrally located amenity center. That's a big reason why the HOA fees are half the cost. So if you like the idea of community amenities, but don't want those extra HOA costs and rules in place like they have in Tradition, Central Park is going to be a real strong contender for you. Now let's move away from master plan developments and talk about one of my personal favorite areas, Torino Parkway. Torino is located in the northwest corner of Port St. Lucie. It's a scenic, quiet part of town with larger lots, nature preserves, and no HOA restrictions. Homes being built in that area are mostly newer, built from the early 2000s up to now, and there is a lot of new construction happening on spot lots. What makes the Torino Parkway area so unique is the setting. You're surrounded by trees, nature, and privacy. A lot of the homes here are on quarter-acre lots, which is hard to find in newer communities. A lot of times those are on 0.11 acre lots or 0.17 acre lots. You're also just going to be minutes away from shopping, schools, and Clover Park, and that's where the New York Mets hold their spring training. The Winter Lakes Park in Torino is one of the best parks in the city, in my opinion. It has baseball fields, basketball courts, pickleball courts, and a playground, and it even has a dog park. So if you want more of a residential, local feel with a little bit newer homes and no monthly HOA fees or CDD fees, Torino Parkway should absolutely be on your list. Next up is Becker Road, specifically the area south of Crosstown Parkway. This side of Port St. Lucie has seen a huge surge in development. If you're looking for a newer home, non-HOA lots, no CDD fees, this is going to be one of the best areas to buy in. This area is very similar to the Torino Park area, but it's more located down south, which makes commuting to southern cities a lot easier. Most of the homes here were built after 2005, and there's still a ton of new construction happening here. You're close to both I-95 and the Turnpike, which makes commuting south to Palm Beach or even Broward County much more manageable. I work with a ton of clients who chose specifically to build in this area for its easy commute and the newer homes. There's also a good mix of custom homes, spec homes like builders from D.R. Horton and Holiday, and there's also vacant lots, so if you're thinking about building from scratch, there's a good opportunity for you there. And while there are some HOA communities mixed in like Verona Gardens or Verona Preserve, you'll find plenty of non-HOA homes with room to park your boat, RV, or just enjoy a little bit more space. So if you want a location that's a little bit newer, they have a lot of flexibility as they don't have HOA fees or CDD fees, and if you do want a small HOA, they do have those, this area is going to be the area for you. Now let's talk about one of the oldest and most affordable neighborhoods here in Port St. Lucie, and that's going to be the River Park area. This area is located on the eastern side of the city, near US 1 and the St. Lucie River. Homes here were primarily built between the 1960s and 1990s, and while you'll find definitely some dated features, you're also going to find some of the lowest prices here in Port St. Lucie. Many homes in River Park are around the $350,000 range, which is becoming rare in Port St. Lucie. There's no HOA, so you'll have a lot of freedom, and for buyers who are handy or maybe want a little project or remodel, this area has a ton of opportunity with some properties that could use a little bit of work. What's interesting is despite the older homes, there is still a lot of new construction going on the spot lots here. So you'll see a lot of brand new homes right next to mid-century Florida bungalows. It gives the neighborhood a very unique characteristic. If your goal is to get the most house for your money and you're okay with being in something maybe a little older or doing a little bit more renovation, River Park might be the best fit for you. Last but not least, let's talk about the neighborhoods off of Gatlin Boulevard. This is where Port St. Lucie first started booming back in the early 2000s. This area stretches east to west from I-95 to US 1 and includes dozens of smaller non-HOA streets filled with modest single-family homes. Some homes are newer, but a lot were built between 1995 and 2010, and you can still find a lot of value here. Keep in mind, a 2010 home isn't that old. Gatlin Boulevard is one of the most central locations here in Port St. Lucie. You're minutes away from major highways, near all the big name box stores, you're near grocery stores, medical facilities, and restaurants. There's a ton of convenience living here and a wide range of homes to choose from basic starter homes to new construction homes being built on those remaining spot lots. This area is also very popular with investors and first-time homebuyers because you can still find that 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home for under $350,000, and many of them don't have HOA or CDD fees. So if you want to be in the middle of everything, have more affordable options, and don't mind being next to maybe a few older homes, this is a great place to search. So what's the best place to live here in Port St. Lucie? Well, it really comes down to what kind of lifestyle that you're going to be looking for. If you want something polished, amenity-rich, and community-driven, go check out Tradition or Central Park. If you want a more natural, scenic feel with no HOA, no CDD, Torino Parkway is one of the best spots to buy in. Now, if you're looking for a newer home with a great location that's a little bit further south, no HOA and no CDD fees, then for sure you should check out the area around Becker Road. And if you're trying to keep costs low and get in around $350,000, definitely you should not overlook River Park or the Gatlin Boulevard area. Those do have those older homes, no HOA, no CDD, and they still have a lot of potential. Port St. Lucie has grown like crazy, but that also means more choices than ever for every type of buyer. So whether your goal is affordability and you don't mind living in a place like River Park that has a little bit more older homes but a great value, that's a good area. Port St. Lucie has that option. If you want something a little bit further south like Becker Road, which makes commuting south, Port St. Lucie has that option as well. And if you want something like a master plan community like Tradition or Central Park, where it's a plug and play lifestyle and you really have that strong sense of community, Port St. Lucie has that as well. If this video helped you at all, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. And if you're planning on moving here, feel free to give me a call or a text. I'd love to help out. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Take care.